Michelle.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How was your day? It's gotten a little chilly tonight, huh?
Yeah, it is a little chilly out.
I don't like it.
You complain when it's hot. You complain when it's cold. What's wrong with you?
You've never heard me complain. I don't complain when it's warm outside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd rather it be hot, and it's so weird because people all of a sudden, Michelle, they've been calling me about snow removal, and I'm like, is it already that time? Is it already that time? And I don't know if I want to commit yet to snow, right? I don't know. I'm like, I don't even want to think about snow right this second, but I guess the early bird gets the worm. So I guess I do appreciate those people that are like ahead of the curve, because I think this year is going to be a little different for some folks, because I am not doing snow for $25. They worked the crap out of me last year. No, they got the game messed up. And it's just one of those things where I thought, me doing a service, when I initially started doing this, and this is a good segue, right? Because tonight's show is really on Black businesses and so on and so forth. And so we have some special guests that are going to be coming on. And I hope that some other people join us because I was supposed to do some advertisements to let people know what's going on. But it's Black Business Month, and there's coupons and businesses in the Southland area that are going to be popping on and giving away coupons, I believe. Welcome, Mr. Decker. But snow removal already. People are starting to ask me about snow removal. And then I was looking at the weather report, you know how they do that at the Farmer's Almanac, and they're saying that this winter, they pretty much said that this is going to be a crappy winter again, okay? Did you hear that, Mr. Decker? How are you?
I'm great.
Did you hear about, did you hear the analysts talk about the winter season?
I hope for the best and prepare for the worst every year.
Well, they are literally saying that this winter is going to be a brutal winter. Now, I normally don't drink the Kool-Aid, but after last year, all of that snow, yeah, I'm drinking it this year. They've made a believer because they worked me a lot last year. So if you're just joining, welcome to the show. This is Trustee Adam Winston. We are dealing with Black Business Month. August is the celebration of Black Business Month. We will have a lot of Black businesses. Jason, I consider you African American too, so don't worry, you're in that crowd. But this is Black Business Month, and we're going to have a bunch of guests and a bunch of people that are entrepreneurs and have businesses in the Southland area. So they should be joining us shortly. Jason, you've been an entrepreneur for a number of years. Do you want to tell us your story, how you got into your business?
Yeah, hang on. I was multitasking there for a moment. I had a very long day. Essentially, I've worked in all the trades. I did spend a lot of time as an emergency board up technician. We covered all 7 counties and at Lake in Indiana as well for over a decade.
Okay.
But that was on call. So in between, I always kept up with little side jobs. But how my wife and I became business owners was working for Richton Square Apartments, is owned by a company that's owned by another company that's owned by Globetrotters International. Globetrotters sought me out after a working relationship in the past and wanted me to come out and help whip the guys into shape. And long story short, I worked there for about a year, and one morning I almost cut off 3 fingers. And unfortunately for them, the payroll company paying us didn't have workers' comp. I had to hire a lawyer. I needed emergency surgery to fix my tendons. And even after losing some mobility in my hand. On my dominant hand, I got a lawsuit settlement for like $3,200.
Yeah.
And my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, but knew my experience, knew my personality level, and just said, why don't you start your own business? So we took that money, hired a lawyer, filed our paperwork, got our insurance in order, and never looked back.
Okay. So how many years so far have you been an entrepreneur, Jason?
We started, the only reason I remember the date is because it's September 11th, but we incorporated September 11th, 2015.
Okay. Okay.
So
you've been doing it for a little while.
7 years, yeah.
7 years. That's not too bad. So I'm an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, all of our guests that are on. While we are waiting for the other guests, our conversation is going to be focusing on small businesses, Black small businesses, especially because August is Black Small Business Month. So we're going to have some business owners from across the Southland area that are going to be coming on and talking about how they got into business. I've been an entrepreneur. I don't know if many people know this story, but Jason, like you, I've been an entrepreneur, and I actually started off in the grocery business. A lot of people don't know this, but I started off in the grocery business, and I owned 4 grocery stores by the time I was 30. And from there, I went to start working for corporate America. I started working in corporate America for a number of years because I really was over. When you work for yourself, sometimes that you think that you experience more lows than highs. I don't know if you know what I mean, right? Where you feel like, oh my God, it would be easier for me just to get a job, and I went and got a job, and I started working for different retailers and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's nothing like owning your own business. Okay, now I do like working. I do like, the kind of the guaranteed money, right, that you get when you are. If you just go to work, you get your check, right? I mean, you don't even, right, Tim? You ain't got to do nothing. You just come to work, you get paid, right? So I like that part of it. But at the same time, I do like the freedom that comes with opening and owning your own business. Trustee Matt, you've been an entrepreneur. Do you want to share any of your story?
Called me off guard. I had to run back to my computer. Yes, I've been an entrepreneur since 2000. I have my own real estate firm. It's called Red Realty. And I think it's the way to prosperity, to have your own company, your own business. And it hasn't been easy. So I kind of straddled the fence. I worked in corporate America while I was trying to get up to speed to have my own real estate firm.
So what do you like about owning your business? Let's go with the likes first, because I know that the word on the street, right, Jason? You own your own business, you live happily ever after. All right. That hasn't been the story with me.
And we're rich. We're all rich.
We're rich, right? And we can do everything, right, Cassandra? We can buy everything. You can afford it.
You're right. It's a mindset.
Yes. Hey, you know what I love? I love when somebody says, well, can't you do this today? You work for yourself. No, actually working for yourself means that you literally work all the time, right? It never ends. And I don't think that some people actually understand that you really just don't have any downtime.
I like when people say, well, you're your own boss. And I said, no, my boss is my customer. And I have 1 to 5 different bosses every week. Every time I go on an estimate, I'm applying for a job. Yes. I mean, I have to sell myself to people every single day, and usually my work speaks for me. But just the whole stigma of people who don't own their own business, they assume that it's just all peaches and cream, and you just, you can take vacation whenever you want, and you've got all this money, and Yeah,
and it is a misconception. So listen, I never forget. So my business, the first business I owned, like I said, was in the grocery business. And I never forget this young person. Well, he wasn't a young person. He was an older guy. And he saw me I started off on the street corner. Yes, I started off on the street corner with $40. Okay. And this is a true story. I couldn't make this up. And I don't know if I was just lucky. And if you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. We are just talking and shooting the breeze about it's Black Small Business Month. And we're just shooting the breeze talking about Black owned small business or entrepreneurship, rather Black, white, we don't care. But we definitely want to highlight Black small business, especially in the Southland area. Because right now we need to start putting more focus on those individuals that have businesses open in the Southland area. I know that we're going to have some special guests. I'm thinking that Miss Williams, right, is one of our special guests on the. So Miss Williams, let me ramble just for 2 seconds, and then I want to hear your stories, okay? But when I first started my business, I started off on the street corner, and I actually was selling produce in front of a school. And I remember, this is a true story. When I started, I didn't know what I was doing. I just didn't know what I was doing, but I was going to do it, right? And I remember getting arrested for selling fruit within 100 feet of a school. I didn't even know it was a law that you couldn't sell fruit within 100 feet of a school. I ended up getting arrested. And I ended up coming in front of Greg Mathis. Now, this is before Greg Mathis was a TV judge. I'm from Detroit, so if you know anything anything about Greg Mathis, he's from Detroit too. And anyway, I went in front of his courtroom. Greg Mathis says, "Why are you selling garbage on the corner?" Your Honor, I'm selling produce on the corner. It's not that garbage. Well, why you ain't in school? I said, school isn't for everyone. Well, Mr. School isn't for everyone. $500 fine. Your Honor, contempt of court. He hit me with $1,000 fine. Oh my God. It put me out of business essentially because I couldn't afford to continue operating in that capacity. But it also made my business flourish because I had to think of new ways in order to make my business what it became. So that's just kind of a highlight. Miss Williams, welcome to Tea and Conversation. I am so happy that you joined us. Who are you, Miss Williams?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thank you for having me this evening. I am Nidra Williams. I'm the owner of Solo Beauty Supply. And Solo Beauty Supply is a full service beauty supply that has been serving the Chicago South Side for over 35 years.
Okay.
I inherited the business from my parents about 12 years ago upon my father's passing. And we started with one location back in 85. And we've recently expanded to a second location last year.
Okay, so where are your locations right now?
We're at 8158 South Cottage Grove, which is directly on the corner of 82nd and Cottage Grove. And we're at 9011 South Ashland, which is in the same complex as Alderman Brookins, if you're familiar with the area.
Yes, I do. So when you said you inherited your business, did you,
Yes.
First for starters, thank you for joining again, but did you ever think that you would be in the hair care business as a business owner? Was this your vision?
No, not quite, but I'm not surprised that I'm here. I had started my own hair care business, my own beauty supply, separate from my parents' beauty supply a few years back. It was Colfax Beauty Supply on 87th and Colfax. Okay. We were there for about 5 years. But like I said, upon my father's passing, I decided to step in and take over the flagship business on 82nd and Cottage Grove that had existed, for a while. So, I didn't want to just let that all that hard work go and that legacy go. So, I figured that, it would be a good move. I actually wanted to retire from corporate America. That's where I spent most of my career, almost 25 years as a insurance claims adjuster. But as fate would have it, I wound up in the beauty supply business.
So tell us, how did your father get into this business? And I know that every business owner has a story. But
Yeah.
but what I've heard, so for starters, and if you caught the earlier part of the show, I'm from Detroit, right? So when it
Okay.
comes to beauty supply stuff, Detroit is the beauty hair capital of the world.
Yes.
I don't care, Cassandra, you don't have to agree. But before there was Atlanta, there was Detroit, right? And they used to do the what was that? The hair show. What was that? I can't even remember, but it used to
Bonner and Bonner, B&B.
they did all of that came from Detroit, where they were doing all these fancy style. They turned it into a thing where they would then go to Atlanta, and you would have who could do the fanciest nails and hair.
Yes.
I mean, it
Yes.
really, Atlanta owns it now, right? But it
Yes.
was
Yes.
started in Detroit. But being an African American in the hair care business, how did you do this, right? And how has it been kind of being in an environment where that's really not, you really don't see people that, even though we're the largest consumer of this particular product, right? You
Right.
just don't see us in the hair care business. How have you been able to deal with that? How have you been able to make your business thrive, and not only thrive, but actually it sounds like you're growing. How have you been able to do that in a market that seems to be dominated by everyone
Others.
else?
Yes. Non-Black owners is I like to
Yes.
say. Well, it's challenging. My parents were entrepreneurs, so they were in business prior to the proliferation of the Koreans or non-Blacks coming into the business in the early 80s. We had it was a boutique, but we sold a lot of blue jeans. We were known for all of our blue jeans. We had all the Gloria Vanderbilt, Sassoons, Calvin Kleins,
I
etc.
remember
So
Gloria
during that era,
Vanderbilt.
yes,
Yeah.
we were directly next to the Tigers Lounge on 79th between Champlain and Langley. So we were well known in that space at that time. And then the business kind of shifted in that area. You had the Koreans coming in with the wig stores and the beauty supplies, and the Sassoons and the Gloriavilles kind of, faded away. And so my parents, like I said, being entrepreneurs, they shifted to where the trend was going. And, like you said, it wasn't many African Americans. Matter of fact, I think it was only one or two. Jordan's was one of them, and he primarily serviced professional salons. So
Yes.
on the Korean model, that's the model that we're set up on, where we pretty much have everything. And so we thought that Black hair care is that's where like you said, 95, 99% of the customers are Black. We thought, well, we should be represented in that space. So that's kind of the story of how we got started. It was a transition from a clothing boutique to the hair care industry. It has been challenging
Yes.
since my parents actually were one of the first pioneers in that respect, competing with the Koreans. They didn't see us as a threat. So, they kind of let us in, so to speak. And we were lucky to establish some relationships with their their chamber, the president of their chamber, who kind of, paved the way for my parents to get everything they needed and to be in the business. Like I said, because we weren't seen as a threat. So
in terms of not being seen as a threat, and if you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. This is your host, Adam Winston. But in terms of that, how has it been? Okay, so because I've always thought, and my sister, she's been in the nail business. She does nails and owns a shop in the Detroit area. And she talks about many of the struggles in terms of buying product, the pricing that she gets, and so on and so forth. How do you keep yourself able to compete with, with some of the buying power that some of these other folks have, where they can buy, product at
right,
they're buying it since bulk.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, it's a challenge. Sometimes we get pushed back, or they won't sell to us or whatever. But money talks still.
Yeah.
So, if you have your money, then usually you can, get what you need. And if you can't get it from one source, there's another, because, contrary to popular popular belief, they are in competition with each other as well. So, you can't get it from one source. Like I said, you can get it from another. And it's actually has gotten much easier with the rise of social media and the internet and the opening up of China. So you can kind of go direct if you need to. But like I said, there's several distributors that are in competition with each other. And so if you can't get it from one, you can get it from another. In terms of pricing, sometimes you do pay a premium. Most times you do, because you can't buy in the volumes that they buy.
Absolutely.
But you can still, can make a profit and be competitive. And as more African American beauty supplies are coming into existence, we're buying together. So
Yes.
we're learning to buy together in bulk as well. So it works out.
Trustee Matz, I see your hand. Go ahead and take the floor. You can ask your question.
Nidra, first of all, thank you for coming on tonight and enlightening us about the hair care business. In light of COVID, we know that the hair and nail business is a billion-dollar industry.
Absolutely. 15 to be exact, but go ahead.
15 billion.
At least, yes.
Exact, and it's recession proof.
Yes.
So I want to know, did we see any fallout from COVID? Were we still coming in, getting everything, or did it slow down just a little bit?
Oh, listen, hey, that was devastating to my business and to the industry, period. They had the restriction, the shutdown, people couldn't come into your stores, and some people followed that guideline and some didn't. I happened to be one of the stores that did. So it was terrible. We had to shift and make a way. And, it's good to have a good reputation and have been in the community for a while, because we got the support of people, even still. We started deliveries. We started doing curbside pickup. My living room was full of product. People were coming to my house. I was delivering it to people in the Walgreens parking lot. We just found a way. But it was really devastating, and it was maddening to see the beauty supplies that didn't comply with the mandate. But we had to make it work, and we did.
Yes.
So I do have a follow-up question. My follow-up, we always talk about in the political world, secessions, right? How the politicians don't have anybody to come up behind them. They don't groom anybody. Do you see anybody come to you saying, I need you to mentor me. I need you to show me how to do this. How can I break into the business? And do you have a succession plan? Are your children into it? Because sometimes our kids don't want to do what we do. They run, even though it's paved the way for them to live the life that they're living. So
yes, that's a very good point, Trustee Matz.
Yes. Well, I've mentored several people, and I currently mentor 2, and I've helped at least 3 businesses to get established. One here in Chicago, one in Wisconsin, and one in Iowa. And people call me all the time for information, and I freely provide it. So in terms of mentorship, yes, that's something that we've always done, even my parents, and believed in. Like I said, we've been in business over 35 years, and we get people coming into the store, they've been gone, wherever they've been gone, and they come back to the neighborhood and they tell us, I remember coming here as a little boy, or a little girl or whatever, and your parents talked to me about going into business and things of that nature. So that's part of our legacy. That's something that we've always done and believed in. In terms of my succession plan, you're right. I don't have any children, but I do have
Miss Williams, you are going. Miss Williams, you are going in and out. Your signal is going in and out.
Who have absolutely
Okay, Miss, I think she has a bad signal. Miss Williams, I'm gonna circle the wagons and come back to you. So if you can hear me, we'll come back to you. Tim, Mr. Campbell, you had your hand up. What was your question? Tim?
Yeah, this actually had a question from Miss Williams. So once she gets back connected, I'll ask.
Okay. Well, Miss Williams, we're going to circle back. In the meantime, I think I have another guest that's on. Also from Sean Michelle Ice Cream Parlor in Olympia Fields. Mr. Muhammad, are you on? Hello? Sean Michelle Ice Cream, can you hear me? Unmute your phone. I can't hear you. Well, I guess we do have it, but definitely we have another guest on. Miss Williams.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no,
I was just.
I can't hear you.
I'll just finish that. Okay.
Okay.
Can't hear me anymore.
Okay, Miss Williams, we're coming back to you. Something's going on with your connection. Hello, can you hear me? This is Adam Winston from Tea and Conversation, host of Tea and Conversation. Can you hear me, Ms. Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome to Tea and Conversation. Now, I don't see any face or anything. All I see is a Y asking me the question, why don't I see your face? But I am so glad that you are here. I am so excited and anxious to get by your place. I have not been there yet. And I love ice cream, even though I'm doing a keto-friendly ice cream. But welcome to Tea and Conversation. Just jump on in, Michelle. Miss Williams, we're gonna come back to you because Tim has a question for you.
Sure.
But in the meantime, while we get those technical difficulties out the way, Mr. Muhammad, please tell us who you are and why I need to get in my car right now and come over there to that shop and get me some ice cream.
Well, I am an ambassador and a trustee to make sure that you guys who are the real owners of Sean Michelle's homemade ice cream get that good old-fashioned ice cream that you could only find when you went to your grandmother's house.
You turning it? Are you telling me you making the ice cream by hand? You are churning the ice cream. Are you telling me that?
Listen here. It's the same recipe when I was in graduate school down at Western Illinois University. After being an undergraduate and doing my thing and fraternity and all of that, I had an experience when I played baseball back in the community, Southside Little League in Chicago. Those that's familiar with the South Side, the Little League was at Cole Park back in the days. But we had practice one day at Avalon Park. And after practice, there was a lady on the bench. And she had a bucket, which was homemade ice cream. I'm talking about, it wasn't even hard. But that taste was so distinctive. It was homemade that I never, ever forgot about that. And after graduating with my bachelor's degree, I started graduate school down at Western, and of course you kind of changed, your social life just a little bit. And I started experimenting with homemade ice cream to recreate that experience that I had with the woman on the bench selling cups for $1, way, way, way back in the day. It wasn't even hard. And it took years and years and years, at least about 6 years, just to learn how to make a product that's palatable and enjoyable. Yeah. And so after college, I came out and, of course, went to work as an administrator under DCFS work, purchase and service. But I kept on experimenting with that ice cream, and I was blessed to be of those that were receiving encouragement to do for self. Okay. And I wouldn't have thought about that. My grandma she was also a businesswoman as well. My uncle was a business person. So that seed of entrepreneurship was planted in my mind from the time of a little child. And so I always say that Sean Michelle's is a faith-based business. Okay. And when I say faith-based business, I say it because it's a product of belief and faith that I could do it, and hard work and putting in, year after year, no matter how hard it might have gotten.
Yes.
But God blessed me to continue to work my faith. And now what you all are seeing 20 something years later is the flower that has budded after years and years of taking root.
Right.
Yes,
And
indeed.
you know what? From what I understand, if you bite into that ice cream, it'll make you say, "Won't he do it?" That's what I heard. And okay, so I'm looking forward to getting over there to see and be able to say, "Won't he will." So let me ask you this: where are you located, so that all of our guests? I want to make certain that all of our guests, because Tea and Conversation, although is only a handful of us here, because we stream on YouTube and we also stream on Facebook, people will be seeing the show, and whether it's today or tomorrow, we'll be probably stopping over to your place. Where can they come and get their nails done? And once they're done, come out over there and get some ice cream. Where can we do these things?
Well, we have 2 locations. We'll start off with the one that we just recently launched in Olympia Fields.
Okay.
And it is a wonderful location. We're so happy to be in Olympia Fields. It's the perfect, I mean, it's right from east to west. It takes 10 minutes to get almost from Indiana to the 57. Easy travel, and it's 3252 Valma Road is the address for that location.
3252 Valma Road.
Absolutely.
Is that over in the across from the Flossmoor Commons area over there?
That's exactly where it is. It's right off of Governor's Highway. The next street is Kedzie Avenue.
Okay, I'm coming to get me some of that diabetes. I'm coming to get.
Well, hey, it's the kind that's gonna take you back down memory lane. Let everybody know. You're going back down memory lane.
That's awesome. And where's the other location?
The other location is in Bronzeville, on the corner of 47th and Wabash. The exact address.
So you everywhere we want to be. Olympia Fields in Bronzeville.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Trustee Matz, you got the floor. Trustee Matz.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Muhammad. And I want to just thank you. And I appreciate you coming to Olympia Fields. Your ice cream is a destination. And everybody needs to know that. It's not everywhere. So people from everywhere is going to come solely for your ice cream. I also understand that you are a retired policeman, city policeman.
I am. Absolutely.
How did you make that transition? Did you retire first before you open up your own business, or did you straddle the fence? Because sometimes it's hard to walk out on faith when you have a family and you have bills. How did you do it?
Yeah, I tell you, I work what we call a Stillaway program. And, you know, and that program says that you work your job until you're able to leave your job. And it's at the point now, after 20 years of serving on the Chicago Police Department, you know, between Olympia Fields and Bronzeville and wholesale accounts, that it started to require much more of myself. I'm thankful for being able to work a job for 20 years and retire, in particular as a public servant. You know, my partner is actually the owner of Making Real Estate Real. We both had a business and we worked the same program, right? And his is the 9-to-5 millionaire because he also worked this job as well before he actually left. But it has been a blessing for me because in order to start a business, it takes capital. And everything is mathematics. I always say, from nothing leaves nothing. You have to have something. And to institute a business and be able to put all of the components that you need in place, it takes capital. Yeah. And so I was able to work around the clock, 2 and 3 jobs, literally. I saved my money all along the way. I always say to those who are helpers for Sean Michelle, I always use the term where the rubber meets the road. And if you're walking up the stairs, you have to take one step at a time. And so we went from making ice cream and selling ice cream to family and friends and sharing more so than even selling with family and friends. Okay. We went from that to me selling ice cream out the trunk of the car. We went from that in the wintertime, should I add, from that to renting out rooms in the back of other locations. I remember I was renting out a room in the back of a sister who had a beauty salon on 63rd Street in Rockwell. And I lived nowhere around there at that time. I rented out a room in the back of a store of a brother who distributed pies and fish. In other words, I just wanted the sense, and I was in my 20s, of having the ideal of being in business. Went from there to tearing down all the walls in the storefront of 716 East 79th Street in 1998. And just started selling ice cream. I was young. I didn't even have a business. The city came and said, brother, you gotta get a license. But I really believed that I could do it. I never took a business class. So that's when I say faith-based. I had faith that what was in my mind could come to reality.
Yeah.
And went from 79th Street to, in 1999, my sister Sean was killed in a motor accident on her way to work, and a car accident on her way to work. And so we kind of, went through what you naturally go through during a time of such tremendous loss. And I kind of retreated for a while. And about 3 years later, I came back and dedicated the business to my sister.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called Sean Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream.
That's interesting.
And
that's very interesting.
we opened up. Oh, yes, sir. She was actually in the culinary arts, and she was an inspiration to myself. She was excellent in the culinary arts. And so we opened up on 95th and Calumet. It was an old currency exchange. And of course we overspent because it was loaded with steel wall to wall, and we took all the walls down and made a small ice cream parlor. And that was the actual first one, named Sean Michelle's. And we stayed there for a few years, and we launched the second location in Blue Island on the corner of 119th and Western Avenue. And that's where it really began to pick up steam.
Okay.
And one of our tenants was and is in the real estate, and they had a property on 87th Street right off of Everline, and it was bigger. And they just encouraged us to kind of step out on a leap of faith and kind of expand. And so we did go there, and we stayed there for approximately 2 years or so, but it really was not suitable for an ice cream parlor. It was really suitable for a restaurant. They still had the windows up in the front, and it's hard to get a family feel when you have bulletproof windows, right?
Yeah. Especially at an ice cream parlor, where you really got to kind of interact with them, right?
Right, exactly. So, with the desire to still prove what it is that we have and what we had at the time, I was looking all over the city for just a better location, more centrally located. At that time, I could not find anything.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we were out one night going out to eat, and we happened to be on the north side, and I just saw signs everywhere. And I happened to make a phone call, and it worked out. And that was the store that we had on 3343 North Broadway. I say it was one of my better experiences. The reason why is because we had customers who would come in all the time and say, man, Jenny's has nothing, no disrespect to no other ice cream establishment, but we were able to see that we could compete anywhere.
So they were comparing your ice cream to Jenny's? They were comparing yours to Jenny's?
They were coming from Jenny's saying that, man, this here is even better.
Interesting.
And so, of course, perception is everybody's reality. Some people don't like homemade ice cream at all. And so, but that was the feedback that we were getting. And homemade ice cream is different from ice cream that has been stabilized or ice cream that has been industrialized. What we have is the true definition of custard. When you cook your banana pudding on the stove, what are you doing? You're making custard. Custard, by definition, means that it's made with eggs.
Right.
When you're making a custard on the stove, you got your egg yolk, you got your sugar. We're still using that same homemade recipe that was used with the churner years ago down at Western Illinois University, just improved. It's the same recipe that you would get when you go to your grandma's house or your mom's house. That's what we have at Sean Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream.
Okay.
Mr.
Muhammad, thank you very much for sharing your story. I want you to hold on for 1 second. I want to circle the wagons a little bit. And I
Absolutely.
wanna get Mr. Campbell, you had a question for Miss Williams. Miss Williams, are you able to hear us loud and clear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Mr. Campbell, are you ready to answer a question?
Yes, I am. Good evening, everyone. Trustee Winston, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Mohammed, and everyone else on the line. Um, even though Mr. Mohammed basically has probably answered every question that I probably would have for Mrs. Williams, but I'm still going to direct this question. Mrs. Williams, what advice would you have for a younger person who is going to be stepping out and becoming an entrepreneur with today's economy and the times that we are living in?
My primary advice would be to do your research. Study the market that you're thinking about stepping into, and get an understanding of your due diligence. Be selective or be careful in their selection of your location, because this business is pretty location sensitive. It doesn't do too good in malls. It does better in, of course, high traffic areas and areas with dense populations, dense residential populations. And primarily that's it. Make sure they do their research.
Yeah. You know what, Mr. Muhammad and Miss Williams, I want you to chime in if you can. But you said something that reminded me of my story starting off as an entrepreneur. When I started off, I tell you, I remember the first day like it was yesterday, right? But I had such I believed in what I was doing, that it was a calling, right? When I was standing there selling produce on a corner, trying to get my business off the ground as a young person, I didn't feel like I could do anything wrong. It almost was like something had taken over my actions. And even though I was going to make some mistakes along the way, and I made a lot of mistakes with my first business, but all of those mistakes ended up turning out in my favor. Miss Williams, did you feel like it was that calling? Like, and I know that you kind of inherited the business from your father, but did you, when you started doing, where's there a level of fear, or did you just jump in and were like, I got this?
Yeah, I kind of was raised at my parents' knee, and like I said, they've been entrepreneurs all my life. So growing up, I'm helping at the store. I have my days that after school where I come, it's my first job or whatever. So it was kind of a natural progression to me. It was nothing, it was nothing new.
Okay.
So it was it was a good fit.
Trustee Matz, your hand is up.
Yes, I'm just going to piggyback on what you just said, Trustee Winston. This is such a great contrast. You have Solo Beauty Salon, which was inherited by Mrs. Williams, which was already a successful business, right? So she didn't have any pushback. Now you have Sean Michelle, which is a brand new, from scratch, a thought and a dream type of business that has come to fruition and is very successful. And my question is to you, Mr. Muhammad. I tell my children all the time, I am your biggest cheerleader and I champion dreams. I don't finance them, because that can go on and on and on and on, and I'll be broke, financing a dream. How much pushback did you get? Because not everybody's going to jump on the Mr. Muhammad, Sean Michelle ice cream parlor dream, because that's like a pie in the sky. How much pushback did you get?
Well, I tell you, always when I have my next level meetings with my staff, I very seldom train on technicalities. It's mostly personal development and inspiration. And I mentioned that to say that I would always mention to them that when a rocket ship is launched to get out of this orbit, it has to have so much momentum that it's enough to carry it through a ceiling of fire, which is gravity, before it eventually reaches that point where it's out of space and you don't have any resistance, right? So I said that to say that I was so on fire. I was so inspired. And I fed that I don't even remember if opposition just did not exist, because I did not allow it to become my reality. And it's, of course, the process of new realities is always painful. So not having the support that you might have thought that you would receive from those of your closer companions and loved ones and friends and family, it's almost like people have to see that this thing is real, right? Before they actually validate what it is that you're doing. But God has always blessed me to have a base of support wherever it is that we planted a Sean Michelle's flag. And again, it's been a process throughout time that has grown. You know, I remember that a $300 day was a day like, okay, we made some money. Now you all can imagine what you can do with $300, right? I had no idea of what it's a book called Managing by the Numbers. I had absolutely no idea, not even a clue of how to manage my business according to the numbers. But God always put what I needed for what I needed for that particular stage in our development. And it was when I opened up the location on 47th Street in Bronzeville, after working around the clock and building up a brand new build out from scratch. It didn't even have a single line of electricity. It had no plumbing. I had never, you know, we can go in a place and do a cosmetic rehab. We know how to kind of make things work. But this place was the first time that I actually engaged in that type of construction. And just to man, just thinking about it just kind of blows my mind, you all. Just wondering how is it that it actually happened, right? But it did, because I had faith and belief. My partner Jamal would tell me, just go on the corner and just look at the place at night after you get off work. I would literally go there in the middle of the night. On my way home after getting off at 2 o'clock in the morning from the Chicago Police Department, I would just sit right there on the corner and I would visualize what I wanted. As a matter of fact, and this is the truth, I have a vision board at home. I had a picture of what I wanted on my wall years before that even manifested. So as a man speaks in his heart, so is he. And so, you know, without vision, the scriptures say people perish. We have to believe. We have to still dream.
Yeah.
And things materialize when we embrace it. And so I think your question was opposition. I could not recognize it. And when I felt so down and out, because you will have those moments, God would always send me a sign to keep moving. And I always lift up the time that I was on 119th Street. And it was so difficult at that time that I said, oh man, this is it. It's just not worth it. I mean, it's just not worth it. I'll deal with this later. And that night I was like, boy, I'm just gonna throw in the towel. And I got a phone call from WVON, and Cliff Kelly wanted to interview me on the spot that night. And while interviewing with Cliff Kelly, he lifted up the fact that Sean Michelle's and the importance and the value that Sean Michelle's has in the rebuilding of our communities.
Yeah.
I knew at that moment that was God.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew at that moment that it was not about me. It was much more than just myself. But what we're doing, it represents hope. I would not be doing this if my mom didn't take me to Baldwin's ice cream as a child. All of those shoulders that I stand on deserve for me to see it through.
Yes.
And this is all a part of the rebuilding of our community. So what we see in Olympia Fields and in Bronzeville, that took place. And the roofs were shot down when I was selling ice cream and my hands was freezing.
Absolutely.
And in the trunk of my car.
Yes.
That took place
Yes.
when I had machines that basically hardly ever. Lord have mercy, just to go back down that memory
Yeah.
lane,
Right.
you guys.
And while you're going
But
down that memory lane, Mr. Muhammad, I'm going to need you to kick out that address again so that my listeners can know where they need to be coming to get that ice cream from. Okay, because we're going to build these communities one ice cream cone at a time, and then I'm coming over there to see Miss Williams to get me some of them hair implants. Where are you located again? Miss Williams, I want you to, Mr. Muhammad, you can say yours, and then Miss Williams, because I definitely don't want to lose any of these people, and I want to take advantage of all the folks that are interested in supporting. August is Black Business Month, so we're going to be having businesses on here. If you know someone who has a Black business that wants to be highlighted, they are welcome to join Tea and Conversation. It is a candid conversation. You can talk about your business. I know as a business owner, we love to talk about our business, right? And our stories aren't that dissimilar. We
Right.
all have
Right.
this journey that we've taken. We've taken that leap. It's some scary leaps. Listen, it's been some scary leaps. Right now, I'm a business owner right now, and I sometimes am like, what? Like, I can get a job, you know what I mean? But I know if I get a job, even though I have a job, and that's so weird. I'll say, I go get a job. Well, I already have a job, but I'll be telling myself, I can go get a job. But just do your work. But in any event, we all have those stories. Share with us, Mr. Muhammad, where your address is so these folks can stop pinging me. And they could have just joined the show. I don't know why they're asking, just join the show. But where are you located again?
Absolutely. 3252 Valmer Road.
3252 Valmer Road. Hopefully you got that, guys. 3252. What are the hours over there?
On the hours there is 12 into 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. On Friday, 12 to 10. On Saturday, 12 into 11 p.m. But the inside of the store, the walk-in closes at 10 p.m., but the drive-through stays open an extra hour.
Okay, because that's what the question was. Do you have a drive-through? So you do have a drive-through.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Sunday, at both locations, 12 to 6 p.m., because that's still culturally a family day. So we close at 6 p.m. on Sundays. And the address in Bronzeville is 46 East 47th Street. Okay. Again, 46 East 47th Street on the corner of 47th and Wabash.
So we're representing the South Side, Mr.
Yes,
Muhammad. So I'm going to stick there. And what is that signature flavor? Is it the Rocky Road? What is the signature flavor?
Oh, that's a great question. Now, of course, I got to take you back down memory lane. And when you go back to grandma's house, the best flavor should always be your vanilla.
Vanilla. I was going to say, that's what I eat. That's what I eat.
It tells you the values of an ice cream company. We get the very best vanilla you can find on the shelf. Okay. So vanilla is our most expensive flavor when you would think that it's the less expensive because it doesn't have any add-in ingredients. But vanilla is the one that should, to be honest with you, we had two individuals that started crying about 3 days ago at Sean Michelle's. This happens all the time. Because it takes people back to the time when their loved one was present, and it takes them to those cherishable moments. And so, again, on the sign that says, hey, are you ready to go back down memory lane? And after, of course, vanilla, we have some signature flavors. Banana pudding. We have a bourbon butter pecan. Of course, we have the old school black walnut, the kind with the real black walnuts, not the English black walnuts now. And we have a host of flavors that you can only find at Sean Michelle's because we create them ourselves. The very first flavor.
Claude have mercy. I'm just got to call on Claude for a minute. I didn't say Lord, so there's no blasphemy here, Miss Williams. Claude have mercy. Miss Williams, hold on, Mr. Muhammad. You real excited, but I'm going to get back to you because I'm about to head over to your way. Miss Williams, tell us where you're located so I can make certain that these people know where you are, because we're on the South Side and we're representing, and we need to support. August is Black Business Month. Miss Williams, where are we coming to get that that hair coloring I need? That
hair coloring, that beard oil, all of that.
I don't got no beard now. I ain't got none of that.
Okay.
I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby with gray hair.
Okay, well, we have something for you at Solo Beauty Supply. Our first location is at 8158 South Cottage Grove, and that's directly on the corner of 82nd and Cottage Grove. I don't know, a lot of people are familiar with the Rap Bar. We're directly next door. Our second location is 9011 South Ashland Avenue, and we're right there in the strip mall. And our hours are from Monday through Thursday, noon to 7 p.m., Friday and Saturday from 11 to 8 p.m., and we're open Sunday as well from 11 to 5 p.m. So 7 days a week.
And I have one more follow-up question for you. And listen, I'm going to try to break this down because it was a long statement. Trustee Matz, I do see your hand, so I'm going to get right to you. But one of the things that I'm getting from one of our guests, okay, and I've been reading and trying to process it, but what I think is that she's asking is about, she is a professional African-American woman who likes to get her nails done. And she does not like to go into places where, I don't know if you've seen these places on various channels where the service isn't like it should be, right? It's not that professional feel. It's kind of where, I mean, do you recommend a person who needs more of a, I don't even know what's the difference between the Filipino nail salons and just a more professional, what do you call the difference? Is it a,
well, the thing about it is we don't do nails.
okay.
All of our services revolve around the hair. So I do have a listing on my webpage or my Facebook page of African American nail salons. So we do give that referral. And but if you need your hair done or braided, then we can service you in that regard. But we are a full service beauty supply. So we retail hair care products and of course the hair, etc. So anything that you would find at the Korean owned or non-Black owned beauty supplies, that's the products that we carry.
Do you carry Murray's?
We absolutely do. Absolutely.
Tim, it's hope for you. Trustee Matz, go ahead.
Well, I didn't want you to forget the challenge, Trustee Winston. We're so happy that we have these two amazing Black businesses.
Absolutely.
That we want the listening audience from Facebook that's streaming on YouTube to definitely support these two Black businesses this week. And we know how expensive gas is. You go in, support these businesses all this week, and you will be entering into a raffle, $100 gift card for gas. And we will announce the winner Monday. So we're asking all of our listeners to go in, support these two businesses, leave your information. It will be entered into a raffle, and everybody can use $100 worth of gas. I think so.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Muhammad, you're back on.
Yes, indeed. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know our Bronzeville hours are Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m. and Monday through Friday, 12 to 8 p.m. and on Saturday, 12 to 9 p.m. Again, on Sunday, 12 to 6. So the location in the suburb stays open an hour or so, a little bit longer than the city hours.
Yes.
And
you know what? It's so interesting. Everything in Bronzeville seems amazing. Am I the only one who feels like it's like all the cool stuff is in Bronzeville?
It is amazing. You better believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm taking it you live in Bronzeville.
Well, I used to stay in Kenwood before I retired from the Chicago Police Department.
Okay.
But now I'm out there closer to our newer location.
Okay.
So
Good.
A South Suburban right now.
Trustee Winston, I also failed to mention that we do have a website as well.
Fantastic. What's that website?
www.solobeautysupply.com. Everything is Solo Beauty Supply. We're on every platform.
solobeautysupply.com. So
Correct.
make sure you get there and you support these two businesses because this is where it starts. You know, as many times, and listen, I have my business, and I always tell people this when they ask me for advice. Surround yourself, Mr. Campbell, if you're interested in if you're interested in opening a business, surround yourself with people that are, I don't care if they're family or not. So that's for starters. They don't need to be bloodline related. surround yourself with people that believe in you, right? Because you wouldn't talk to somebody who's going to tell you your business is going to fail. Drop those people. Stick
That's
with
right.
those individuals that are going to be supportive and that are going to try to help you get your business off the ground, and you too would be well on your run. But stay away from any naysayers, right? You wouldn't hang around somebody to tell you, oh, your marriage ain't gonna work. Why would you hang around somebody that's gonna tell you your business ain't gonna work?
That's right.
Don't
Come
hang
on.
around negative energy. So that would be my best advice for each and every one. But you can't be lazy either, Mr. Campbell. You actually, there is no 9 to 5. Mr. Muhammad, Ms. Williams, there's no
That's
such thing
right.
as a 9 to 5 when you work for
Amen.
yourself.
No
And
way.
you gonna
That's
answer
right.
that phone,
Oh, Lord.
or you gonna be out of business. You gonna open that shop, or you gonna be out of business. You gonna take care of
That's
those
right.
customers, or you gonna be out of
Right.
business. Okay.
Yes.
Because one thing I do
Yes.
know about some of my people, y'all hard on us. Okay. If I make a mistake, okay, y'all not as forgiving as someone else makes a mistake.
Say that again.
I won't even get into that.
Right.
Michelle, you've been awfully quiet today, Michelle. When are we going to get some hair weave and an ice cream cone?
Well, my braids are still good for another month, so, but I
Okay.
will go get some ice cream.
Okay. Well,
Come
I'm
on
going,
now.
and he has my favorite flavor because vanilla is the flavor that I like. Now, the only thing, Mr. Muhammad, I have to ask you this. Some of us are on a keto diet. You got any
That's correct.
keto-friendly ice cream?
Now, actually, I was just in a conversation with someone just on Saturday, and that is an ice cream creation that we're putting together right now. We have this this phrase that we've coined that's exclusively Sean Michelle's, but if you're from down south, it might warm your heart. It's called Stump Your Feet.
Mhm.
And for example, our peach cobbler, not the ice cream, we have a warm Stump Your Feet peach cobbler as well. And I said that to say that when we introduce this keto creation, it's gonna make you raise your hands and stump your feet.
Well,
And
wait a
so
minute.
look
Well,
forward to it.
how are we gonna talk about keto and then you gonna throw peach cobbler in that same sentence?
It just
Like,
reminds
how does that
me.
work? Like, I mean, well, that sounds like a setup. You can't have
I
keto
guess-
and peach cobbler. Those don't go together.
Yes,
Okay. I mean,
sir.
they go
Yes,
together, but
sir.
they shouldn't go together. Okay.
Yes, sir. But you can show enough have a cherry keto, right?
Yeah,
The
you're
cherry
absolutely right.
keto.
Okay.
Cherry
You-
keto cobbler.
Yeah.
So
I
we
guess.
working on you. Is what I want you to know. We working on you right now.
Yes,
And
I
we're gonna
see.
give
I
you
see.
something
I
that
see.
you won't be able to forget about.
I
Absolutely.
see that. Well, I again, if you're just joining, this is Tea and Conversations. It's our Monday talk. August. I want to say April. August is Black Business Month, and we are talking to two business owners. And I am so excited that I got a chance to meet each and every one of you. Ms. Williams, it's about that time. What would you like to say to take us on out of here?
I would like to say, please come and visit our store and support Solo Beauty Supply. We've been a pillar in the community, a stabilizing business in the Chatham community for over 35 years. Due to the support that we've received from the community, primarily African American. So we are grateful for that. We have this Saturday coming up. We're doing our annual back to school event where we get a chance to give back to the community. So that will be this Saturday at the 9011 South Ashland location. And
Fantastic.
other than that, just thank you for having me this evening. It's been really, really enjoyable.
Mr. Muhammad, thank you very much, Ms. Williams. Mr. Muhammad, when are we going to see your ice cream in the store shelves?
Well, we already are being requested for Mariano's. And so we just acquired some packaging equipment that I wanted to acquire first. And so we have acquired that, and that's being actually put together now. And so we're working on that particular, should I say, lane of Sean Michelle's.
Okay, fantastic.
We're working on that lane of Sean Michelle's.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Muhammad, go ahead and give us your words of encouragement for anyone who's thinking about starting a business. And then while they're thinking about it over a nice ice cream, why don't you tell them where they can find you again and what your advice would be?
Well, I start with my words of advice. I like to borrow from one of Les Brown's statements, and he always say, live your dream. Live your dream. And as I always say, express yourself fully and have faith. Just a grain of a mustard seed, but remember, faith without works is dead. You have to work your faith. And so dreams do come true. And so don't let anyone, as you said earlier, discourage you. Find those who will support you. And like the song says, in the greatest love of all, if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love. And again, our address is 3252 Valma Road in Olympia Fields and 46 East 47th Street in Chicago, and the infamous historical Bronzeville community, where you can take your trip back down memory lane and fall in love again with some real homemade ice cream.
Mr. Muhammad, I'd like to thank you again for coming on the show. I actually think that you should have a brand called the Mr. Muhammad that just re-energizes you and makes you should have your own flavor, man. Don't even mix yours, but just the vanilla. You just do your own thing, and I think it would sell like hotcakes. I just want the royalties because it was my idea. Just remember, I gave that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Trustee Matt, any last words or anything?
Yes, I definitely want to thank Sean Michelle Ice Cream Parlor, as well as Solo Beauty Supply, for coming on tonight. And to our listening audience, nothing good is easy. And they will keep the lights all this week and support them, and look forward to pulling your name for the $100 gas card. So come on out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Trustee Matt.
Well, thank you guys very much for being on TN Conversation. You're welcome anytime. I'm here every Monday at 7 p.m. for an hour. So feel free to join anytime, or you got some new flavors that you need our guests to try. Come on back, or some hair, or you got to open up a new shop, Ms. Williams. You make sure you come on back. Until next week, you guys have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Okay.
Everybody's off?
Everybody's off.